Wondrous Spirit, source of all that is good, we give thanks for every gift that has been given, for this beautiful September day, for this institution and its commitment to education, for all who have gathered here to mark the beginning of the academic year, and for all the opportunities that come with it. We come together as students, teachers, administrators, community members, filled with the energy, excitement, anticipation, and anxiety that comes with a new school year. For some, this convocation is a familiar ritual, like coming home, happy and joyous, yet mindful of those who are not here, the friend who has graduated or the colleague who is gone. For some, this convocation is a very new experience in a new place, a first step on their journey to become a scholar. Blow the winds of creativity through this gathering. Fan the flames of imagination and inquisitiveness in each person, and knit this gathering of unique and diverse individuals into a community of learning, a community of love and wisdom, mutual respect and justice, a community where each person can grow and thrive and share the gifts that they have been given. In your many names we pray, may it be so. Please be seated.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Convocation is marked by a formal ceremony which signals the start of the academic year. It is the opportunity to welcome our incoming class and celebrate our graduating seniors. It is also a time to share traditions and to encourage all students to consider their intellectual journey as they undertake and continue studies at Mills. Welcome to the 2014-15 academic year. I thank Kathleen Burke, the chair of the Mills Board of Trustees, for her dedication to and support of the college. Welcome back to our esteemed faculty. Our students are so fortunate to have you guide them in their learning. And I am thankful to our Mills staff, whose dedication is unparalleled. As I begin the fourth year of my presidency, I feel a vibrancy and energy on campus which is alive with possibilities. This, in no small part, is due to our 1,548 students, with 188 new first-year students joining us this year. We have 909 undergraduates and 622 graduate students, representing one of the largest graduate student enrollments in the history of Mills. That is an accomplishment to be proud of. When I think of the turmoil and unsettling nature of today's world, I remain confident that there is hope and promise, as I know that at Mills, we have students and alumni around the globe who are dedicated to making the world a better place. As I formally welcome you, let me tell you a little bit about class traditions. We have many traditions at Mills, which I know many of you are familiar with. One of those is wearing class colors at campus events to show class spirit. Seniors, let me start with you. Let me hear from the blue class, the class of 2015. Show me that spirit. I know that you have engaged yourselves and with all that Mills has to offer, and that you will use the knowledge you have attained to challenge the world, no matter what path you take. You are Mills students and will be for the rest of your lives. As you embark on your senior year, have the courage to learn, to teach others, and to make a difference. To the purple class, our juniors from the class of 2016, are you here? Oh, there is no doubt each of you has made your mark on Mills already. But I know you have much more to learn and accomplish. I wish you a productive year, and before you know it, I will be welcoming you back as the graduating class. And how about the red class, the sophomores from the class of 2017? Let me hear you. I see some red class folks back there. Good job. Now you know what to expect. The newness has worn off. You have established your roots at Mills. You have survived your first year. Congratulations and welcome back. And a special welcome to our green class, the class of 2018, our first-year students. Are there first-year students here? You are now officially Mills students. I guarantee that Mills will hold a very special place in your hearts, now and throughout your lifetime. You are about to embark on one of the most important journeys of your life, where you will acquire the finest liberal arts education and where you will make lifelong friendships. Welcome. We are so delighted to count you among the Mills family. And now I would like to introduce to you some very special people who will bring greetings from Mills. Our first speaker today is Skylar Crownover, president of the Associated Students of Mills College. Skylar is a junior majoring in research psychology. His academic advisor is Dean Maurier, professor of psychology. Skylar is a bent twig whose cousins both attended during the 1990 strike, one of the many reasons he decided to attend Mills. Skylar is a traditional student and will be completing all 4 years at Mills before continuing on to graduate school. He is passionate about creating change for transgender students on campus. During his time here at Mills, Skylar has found support from his Mills family within the Associated Students of Mills College and the Division of Student Life. Skylar, will you please come forward?
Thank you, President DeCudro, for those welcoming words as we celebrate the 162nd year of Mills. Welcome family, friends, mentors, faculty, and staff, those who could be here with us today and those who could not. As poet E.E. Cummings once said, "It takes courage to grow up and become who you really are." Today, I want to focus on courage. What is courage and what does it look like? I'm sure we could get as many different definitions as there are people here in attendance today. However, in this moment, I would like to think of courage as consisting less of a static definition and more of a collection of traits and actions that can be cultivated. There are acts of courage, both big and small, though from experience, they all feel like huge moments in life. So what does courage look like at Mills? For transfer students, courage is the decision to change communities partway through a journey to be true to oneself and for personal growth and fulfillment. For parenting students, courage is balancing the demands of school with home and family. For commuting students, courage is the various ways of balancing commutes, both from just down the street or an hour down the 580 with commitments here at Mills. For the resumer students, courage is entering undergrad and challenging the belief that traditional is the only way of life. For the graduating class of 2015, courage is preparing for life after Mills, for being comfortable or uncomfortable with the ambiguity of what comes next. For the juniors, courage is declaring that major that fuels your passion, and for being all right, knowing that that might shift over time. As for the sophomores, courage is continuing to show up honestly and authentically in all of your various roles and classes on campus. For the class of 2018, the first years, courage is becoming a part of our community here at Mills, and for some, being away from home for the very first time. And as our motto, "One destination, many paths" suggests, we will all be challenged to grow and show courage in varying ways through our time here at Mills. The other night in class, Professor Rebecca Edwards asked us, "What discourses run your body?" Moments of courage are the ways in which we decide and shape our futures. The moments when we push up against and push back on discourses within society in order to become who we want to be. For me, courage is speaking here before you today, a junior in a role typically held by a member of the senior class. Courage can also happen on an institutional level through a public platform, influencing the lives of many. The courage of Mills College in being the first all-women's college to have a formal policy on transgender students allows me to be here in front of you today, a transgender man completing his undergraduate degree as a valued member of the class of 2016. But courage is also taking time for personal wellness and the little things in life. Courage is getting strength and resolve through community and the ability to ask for help, knowing when to move back and to allow those around you to offer support and guidance. Courage is also learning from failure. I know this sounds cliche, but it is in these moments of struggle that it becomes most apparent where each of us can grow and learn, expand our skills and knowledge. So for this year, I want to challenge you to go forth and embrace those moments, both big and small, that take courage. The failures and the victories are all influential in growing up and becoming who you really are. Strong, proud, all Mills. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Skylar. Our next speaker, representing our graduate students, is Anna Giles. Anna is a 4+1 student in the MPP program. She graduated in the class of 2014, majoring in public policy analysis with a minor in sociology. Her academic advisor is Mark Henderson. As a first-generation college student, born and raised in Chico, California, Anna would like to work for local government and aspires to become a city manager for a community in the Greater Bay Area. Anna is a senior resident assistant for the first-year community and the RA in the Accessibility Continuing Hall in Orchard Meadow. In 2013, she was the keynote speaker at Northern RAP, the regional Northern California Conference for Students in Residential Life. Anna, will you please come forward?
Good morning, faculty, staff, class of 2015, and to all of those who came before us. Thank you for coming out this cloudy morning to join in community and celebrate Mills' 162nd anniversary. When I was nominated to speak, I was asked what my Mills education has meant to me. I found the question interesting because I think what my Mills education has meant to me as an undergraduate and what it has meant to me as a graduate are two different things. During my undergraduate career, I spent a great deal of time deciding who I wanted to be in this world and how I wanted to be perceived by others. Mills fostered a great sense of confidence in me because it taught me to think analytically and critically, not just about the things taught in the classroom, but also about my personal values, beliefs, and ideas. While there are similarities in the graduate school, such as learning theory and a focus on social justice issues, overall, graduate school is less about finding yourself and your passions, and more about what to do with that passion. Attending grad school is a very intentional decision. A Mills education as a graduate student means dreams and aspirations are taken out of the hypothetical realm and thrown into reality. There is an expectation that if you're interested in something, you're going to go out there and do it. You'll get the internships needed and work with the proper people to obtain your goal. However, this expectation is not in vain. The bar is set high as a graduate student here at Mills, but it's because as a graduate student you are taught to meet and exceed the standards set. A Mills education as a graduate student means graduating with the skills, passion, and network to not only want to go out and change the world, but to actually go out there and do it. The change looks different for each of us. You may be eager to change the world of education, of business, or policy. You may want to change your perception, or change our perception of music, dance, or maybe you'll write the next Pulitzer Prize novel. Your change may be global, or it could be local. No matter what it looks like, though, or what you aspire to do, you will make a difference in this world. And that can be a daunting task to think about. How are you, one single person, going to change the world? And is that even possible? You may feel overwhelmed in holding this responsibility and having an unfettered potential. In a way, the greatness that you contain can be a terrifying thought. But Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "We gain strength and courage and confidence by each experience in which we really stop to look fear in the face. We must do that which we think we cannot." For some, we looked fear in the face when we submitted our application to graduate school. We look fear in the face when we think about all that is required of us to complete our education. And we will look fear in the face when we walk across this stage in May, ready to live out our passion. What happens after May will be up to us. We must continue to raise expectations for ourselves and continue to make our dreams a reality. Within each of us, there is a unique power we possess to make a difference. The challenge will not be easy. Fear may get the best of us at times, but remember that you are not alone. You are here at Mills with over 600 other graduate students ready to change the world. After we graduate, we will have the network and support that we found during our time here at Mills. We have all of those who came before us, and we have all of those who are yet to come. So my challenge for you is to face your fears, because when you do, your potential and your impact are infinite. Because when you overcome that doubt and that uncertainty that holds you back, everything you do changes the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. I am pleased to now introduce Lucy Doe, class of 1975. Lucy is the current president of the Alumni Association of Mills College and has been on its Board of Governors since 2009. In her presidential role, Lucy serves on the Mills Board of Trustees as an alumna trustee. Lucy is a chemist, an engineer, and an Oakland business owner. I know she is pleased to welcome you on behalf of our alumni and alumni worldwide. Lucy, will you please come forward?
Thank you, President DeCoudreau, for your kind introduction. I, too, was a member of a blue class, so yay! I'm so happy to once again be able to participate in the start of another school year here at Mills. I'm also so glad to be able to be active on campus all year round, but especially during this time of year when I can't help but be swept up in the euphoria and anticipation of another great year to come. As you know, the college was started in the year 1852 by Cyrus and Susan Mills. You may also know that the Alumni Association of Mills College was started 135 years ago in 1879. I'm paraphrasing these next words from my classmate, Marion Hirsch. Led by Emma Wilson, 100 young women met in the Young Ladies' Parlor in Mills Hall and voted to subscribe to the objective of promoting the prosperity of Mills College. Ever since then, the AAMC has been a strong and constant partner to the college. That is not to say that alumni always agree with decisions and actions by the college. For example, in conjunction with students, we did manage to convince the Board of Trustees to overturn their decision to go co-ed in the 1990s. Actions such as these only prove the success of Mills College in preparing its students to be strong in their convictions and capable in achieving worthy goals. The Alumni Association and its Board of Governors remain committed to working with President DeCoudreau and the college to engage alumni so that they remain knowledgeable about all the amazing developments on and off campus for our students. We are the college's best spokespeople. We are also present on campus with programs throughout the year in support of the students. Our current actions are geared towards achieving the college's goals, objectives, and imperatives as defined by the strategic plan that was developed in 2013. As with previous years, the AMC, in cooperation with Alumni Relations, kick-started the year for the entering students with Taco Tuesday. You will also see that the AMC is sponsoring many of the programs during the reunion, which was started yesterday. Then, on October 12th, in a few weeks, in celebration of the 135th anniversary of the AMC, we will be presenting an authors panel on campus with authors Lalita Tademi, who sits in front of you as one of the new trustees for the college, Anchi Min, Susan Reelan, and Yi Yun Lee. We are busy with plans for many more activities. I encourage you all to come join us in all of the AMC activities. You will find, as I do, that not only are programs intellectually and socially stimulating, but being back on campus with all of its youth and energy is rejuvenating as well. At this time, I'd like all of the alumni to please stand up and identify yourselves as a group. I want you all to know that this year, the class of 1964 are celebrating their 50th reunion, and they are 72 strong. I thank you very much and hope to see you all soon and often on campus.
Thank you, Lucy. It is now my great honor to introduce our convocation speaker, Maggie Hunter. Dr. Hunter is an associate professor of sociology and a newly appointed faculty fellow. She has a BA from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and an MA and PhD from UCLA. She has been at Mills since 2007. Among the courses she teaches are History of Sociological Thought, Sociology of Gender Roles, Sociology of Immigration, and Sociology of Hip-Hop. Her talk, entitled Why the World Needs Mills Leaders, will address the unique aspects of a Mills education and how the world might be different if our students were leading the largest global organizations. Maggie, will you please come forward?
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you all, celebrating the beginning of another academic year at Mills. Professors are fond of saying, I learn more from my students than they learn from me. But often we don't really mean that. Most of us believe we have important things to teach our students, and we wish we had even longer class periods in order to deliver even longer lectures, even though our students don't. But actually, we do learn things from our students, and they also learn from their experiences in student clubs, in student government, volunteer opportunities, internships, and through their interactions with one another at Mills. Altogether, we are creating a unique set of student leaders at Mills, and the world has never needed Mills leadership more than it does right now. In my comments today, I'd like to focus on 3 key lessons I have learned from my students and how those lessons can translate into global leadership opportunities. The first lesson I'm titling, Fighting for Someone Else. I've served as the faculty advisor for the student club called MLAT, Mills Leaders Across Borders Together. The students in MLAT are committed to improving opportunities for immigrant communities. They have spent the past few years working specifically on issues for undocumented immigrants, particularly undocumented college students, and justice for immigrants who are detained or deported. Although a few of the students in the group are or were undocumented themselves, most are not. Yet they feel a strong ethical obligation to work with and for their undocumented peers. It can be easy to fight for your own group and your own rights, but it is hard to commit your time and energy to fight for someone else. Fighting for someone else is a key trait of Mills student leadership. Now I'd like to ask you to think about the Ebola outbreak in West Africa. Thousands of people have been infected and the numbers are climbing. Politicians, public health officials, and leaders of NGOs are working to address the epidemic, but with limited success and lots of conflict. Now I'd like to ask you, what if a Mills graduate was the Minister of Public Health in Liberia or the head of the UN Health Agency? Currently, some leaders have opted for punitive quarantines for people who are even suspected of being infected. The quarantines are in the poorest, most vulnerable neighborhoods of Monrovia, where the residents are cut off from all services. If a Mills graduate were in a leadership position to deal with this crisis, that graduate would know how to fight for someone else, in this case, the victims and survivors of Ebola. A Mills leader would see the Ebola victims as victims and not simply as threats to everyone else. I think a Mills graduate would fight for them and represent them in ways that those afflicted with Ebola have not yet experienced. The second lesson I'd like to focus on is what I call opting for inclusiveness. In recent years, the campus has been engaged in discussing the presence of transgender students on campus and how that should affect admissions policies and the identity of the college itself. Student activism was the catalyst that pushed the campus to engage with these issues, and all of us in the Mills community wrestled with the changing nature of identity, of gender, of pronouns, and even the meaning of women's colleges in the 21st century. As a campus community, we have opted for inclusiveness. We have committed ourselves to opening our arms, to broadening our reach, and to widening our influence by acknowledging the history and future of transgender people in the Mills community. Now I'd like you to think about the unprecedented number of children migrating to the U.S. from Central America without their families. More than 50,000 children traveling alone without an adult have been stopped at the border just in the past year. Sometimes Mills students scoff at the idea of working for Homeland Security or for ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. But what would happen if a Mills graduate was the chief of ICE or a lead attorney for the ACLU? Or even the head of the Winemakers Association and in charge of the policies for hiring migrant workers in the grape fields. With the huge numbers of children migrating to the U.S. without their parents, how would our Mills graduates respond to this crisis? Would they say, as many leaders have, we don't have room for them, we can't accommodate them? Or would our students opt for inclusiveness? I think students who learn to be leaders at Mills would choose inclusion. They would strategize about the best way to make room for the unaccompanied children migrants in schools. They would find foster families for them and the social services and counseling help that they will surely need. Ultimately, leaders who are trained at Mills might help them reunite with their families on this side of the border because they know that the country can benefit from their presence. The third lesson I'd like to highlight, I witnessed after the racist Facebook posting last year. That incident sent much of the campus into a tailspin as students, faculty, and administrators struggled to figure out what happened and how best the campus community should address it. Although many people rose to the occasion and offered guidance and leadership through those challenging days and months, I think most of us would agree that the students of the Black Women's Collective, the BWC, stood out with exceptional leadership. I am calling this lesson Big Picture Problem Solving. The students of the Black Women's Collective did not get stuck on the Facebook incident itself, Although it was important to try to find out who wrote the posting and if identified that person, ensure that person faced some consequences, the students of the Black Women's Collective stepped back and looked at the larger racial context of the incident itself. The BWC used the incident to ignite a long-needed discussion at Mills and in higher education more generally about campus climate, social justice and the curriculum, and African American student retention. Their ability to do big picture problem solving is a lesson that is crucial in leadership strategy. Now I'd like to ask you to think about Ferguson, Missouri, a place that many of us have been thinking about quite often. After the fatal shooting of Michael Brown, an unarmed African American teenager, by a white police officer, the city erupted in anger, frustration, and deep sadness. Local and state leaders escalated the situation with a militarized police response and lack of public accounting of the tragedy. How might things have gone differently in Ferguson if our Mills graduates were in key leadership positions there? I believe that our Mills graduates would bring the ability to do big picture problem solving to the situation in Ferguson. For example, the details of whether or not Michael Brown paid for the cigars in the store or whether or not he was jaywalking are not the central concerns in Ferguson. Mills leaders know the only way to address the issues in Ferguson is to step back and look at the larger issues surrounding this particular incident. Black economic and political disenfranchisement, the massive growth of the criminal justice system, and the increased use of the police as a force of state control. If a Mills graduate was the chief of police in Ferguson, maybe Michael Brown would still be alive. If a Mills graduate was the governor of Missouri, maybe Ferguson would not be in flames. Use the strengths of your Mills education. The world needs your leadership. Go give it to them.
Thank you so much, Maggie. I appreciate your inspiring words and the inspiring words of all of our speakers. And it is now my pleasure to present the Student Honors for Outstanding Scholarship. The recipients of the Staff Scholarship Prize for First Year Achievement, the Mary Wetmore Prize for Sophomore Achievement, the Faculty Scholarship Prize for Junior Achievement, and the Mary Atkins Merit Scholarship for Resuming Women are chosen by the faculty's Academic Standing Committee. Recipients are selected based on their prior year's outstanding academic achievements at Mills College. These prizes are kept confidential until today and are announced for the first time at Convocation. Will the recipients stand and remain standing until all names are announced? An audience, as tempting as it might be, will you please hold your applause until all of the recipients are announced? The Staff Scholarship Prize for First Year Achievement is made possible through the generous donations of our own Mills staff. This scholarship is given to a returning sophomore. This year's recipient is Gianna Canez. Gianna's major is pre-nursing, and her academic advisor is Richard Cohn, visiting associate professor of biology. The Mary Wetmore Prize for Sophomore Achievement was established in 1926 for excellence in scholarship, and this year the recipient is Acacia Lohman Nelson. Acacia's major is PLE English, and her academic advisor is Paul Schulman, professor of government. The Faculty Scholarship Prize for Junior Achievement is an award made possible by donations from Mills faculty. The Academic Standing Committee selected Brenna Baker as this year's recipient. Brenna is majoring in mathematics, and her academic advisor is Spendalina Stankova, Professor of Mathematics. The Academic Standing Committee chose Federica Beatrice as the recipient of the Mary Atkins Merit Scholarship based on outstanding scholarship as a continuing resuming student. Beatrice's major is economics, and her academic advisor is Roger Sparks, professor of economics. Please join me in congratulating these outstanding Mills students. The Elizabeth Burwell Prize in Leadership honors a student who demonstrates Elizabeth's living legacy of excellence in leadership, active involvement in Mills, and ethics within and outside of the Mills community. Mills faculty, staff, and students all had the opportunity to nominate students who have demonstrated these qualities. This year's recipient of the Elizabeth Burwell Prize in Leadership is Alexandra Toledo. Alexandra's major is single subject science credential prep, and her academic advisor is Elizabeth Baker. Elizabeth Burwell is unable to join us here today, but I know she will be very pleased to know of Alexandra's academic accomplishments and leadership qualities. Alexandra, thank you for standing so that we may congratulate and recognize you. And now I would like to salute our first-time 2014-15 Academic Discipline Scholars. These new scholars will join our continuing academic scholars who were chosen for these awards because of their exceptional records of personal and intellectual achievement. Will the new scholars please stand as I call your name and remain standing so that we may recognize you? The scholars are, for the Barbara Hazelton Floyd Scholarship, Amanda Alice Battaglia Cole and Elizabeth Ann Nadolny. For the Janet L. Holmgren Presidential Scholarship, Dante Catherine Sherrill and Hannah Kate Zenkuti. For the Osher Scholarship, Jennifer Kelly Cumby, Catherine Ann Duckworth, Dominique Dunlap, Kathleen Ann Obexon, Pamela August Russell, Ricarda Sawatsky, Kara A. Schoenfeld, Jacqueline Snodgrass, Casey Anna Dolores Sugi, and Lani Trotman. For the Scheffler Scholarship, Maxine Elizabeth Newsenow, and for the Carol Donner Commemorative Scholarship in Music, Alyssa Rihanna Kyogi. Please join me in congratulating these scholars. Our provost and dean of the faculty, Kimberly Phillips, is unable to be with us today due to illness. And so I am pleased to lead this part of the program and honor our gifted faculty. We have 4 newly tenured faculty members at Mills for 2014-15. It is my pleasure to introduce Priya Shimpi, Associate Professor of Education, Jay Gupta, Associate Professor of Philosophy, Maya Avrit, Associate Professor of Mathematics, and Priya Kandaswamy, Associate Professor of Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies. Will you please stand and be recognized? Each year, one member of the faculty is selected to receive the Eugene E. Trefethen Jr. Faculty Award. This award was established to honor the late Eugene Trefethen Jr. Mr. Trefethen was a lifetime trustee of Mills College who served on the Mills Board of Trustees for 36 years. He was one of the most dedicated and effective trustees ever to serve this college. The criteria for the selection of the Trefethen Faculty Award are outstanding teaching, curricular innovation, scholarship, and college or community service. It is now my pleasure to present the Eugene E. Trefethen Jr. Faculty Award to Dr. Beth Coakley, Assistant Professor of Chemistry. Will you please stand and be recognized? We would also like to honor faculty members appointed to endowed chairs. Endowed professorships are special faculty positions underwritten by donors who want to recognize outstanding teachers known for their ability to combine excellent teaching with fine scholarship and dedicated college service, a combination that is fundamental to excellence in education. The Board of Trustees appoints professors to these endowed chairs, usually for three-year terms. Please stand as I read your name and remain standing until all are recognized. And audience, please hold your applause until all are recognized. Christy Chung, Associate Professor of Psychology, to the Letts Villard Professor in the Natural Sciences. David Donahue, Associate Professor and Associate Provost and Professor of Education, to the May Treat Morrison Professorship. Sandra Greer, Professor of Chemistry, to the Scheffler Pre-Health Science Chair. Priya Kandaswamy, Associate Professor of Women's, Gender, and Sexuality Studies, to the Mary S. Metz Professorship. Diane Cattell, Professor of Education, Educational Leadership, and Administrative Services Credential, to the Robert and Ann Wirt Professorship. Brenda Mehta, Professor of French and Francophone Studies, to the Germaine Thompson Professorship in French Studies. Marianne Milford, Professor of Art History, to the Carver Professorship in Far Eastern Studies. Maggie Payne, Professor of Music, to the Luther Bressie Marchant Professorship. Patricia Powell, Professor of English, to the Aurelia Henry Reinhardt Professorship. Priya Shimpi, Associate Professor of Education, to the Lynn T. White Jr. Professorship. And lastly, I would like to acknowledge and congratulate Professor Carol Chekovich, who we just received word has been selected to receive the 2014 Leslie A. Whittington Excellence in Teaching Award from the Network of Schools of Public Policy, Affairs, and Administration. We applaud all your accomplishments and your continued commitment, not only to the education of your Mills students, but also to the betterment of the Mills community. Congratulations. I would now like to offer a special welcome to our new faculty members. Pedro Nava, Assistant Professor of Educational Leadership. Yulia Pinkosevic, Assistant Professor of Studio Art. Sarah Swope, Assistant Professor of Biology. And David Tao, who will join us in January as the Chan Norris Visiting Professor in Science and Technology. Welcome to the Mills community. All Mills faculty deserve our recognition and tribute. I invite our faculty to stand as we salute you. And I would like to also acknowledge the hard work of our staff and thank them for their dedication to the college and to providing services to allow our students to meet with success. Will the staff please rise so that we can thank you? And I would also like to acknowledge and ask that they stand our trustees who provide so much of their time and their financial resources and their wisdom to us. Please join me in thanking them for their service to the college. Thank you all for attending our 162nd Convocation ceremony. I wish you all an inspired year, a year of accomplishment and satisfaction, a year where you question, challenge, and learn, a year when your intellectual curiosity has no bounds, and a year when you make a difference. I know that each of you will embrace all that Mills has to offer and will make your mark this year and forever on Mills College. Reunioning alumni and guests, enjoy your program and the remainder of your weekend at Mills. And now please rise for the benediction and remain standing to sing the college hymn led by the Mills College Choir and directed by Cindy Beitman of the Mills College Music Department.
Go in peace. Go with an open heart and an open mind. Nurture your spirit just as you nurture your body and your mind. Live each day as a gift and rest each night in the wisdom and love of the universe.